Okay, so thank you so much for joining our Debt to Execution Since meeting. And this meeting is to build collective momentum across the program. So, in order to do that, we will first reflect on what each DAO has been doing and learning so far. Then, we will open space to ideas and coordination practice and encouragement. And at the end of this meeting, we will identify some challenges and opportunities that could benefit from collaboration. So we will move to the agenda for today's meeting. So we have six key parts. The first is we will have DAO updates segment from each DAO, and then we will have some share execution phase feedback, and then we will move to open mic to share some insights and story moments come from DAO members, and then we will have a partner sharing, and then the last is the Q&A and next step for remain time of Dev 2. So to get started, we will welcome to our attendee. Today we have Ms. Linh Cao, CEO of Kambria, and please welcome our DAO facilitator for DAO. So welcome Duyên and Nguyên Nguyễn from CCD, Nguyên Lê and Duyên Nguyễn from ED. We have Ngọc Trần, Như Huỳnh and Uyên Nguyễn from KTD, and we have Dung Hoàng and me from BBD. And thank you for all beloved DAO members for being here today with us. And last but not least, please also join me to welcome our dev partner, Ms. Nikki, Media Download from CCD. So during this meeting, if you have any questions or discussion, please share in the chat box and we will choose some to share in this meeting. And after this meeting, we will add all questions and answer to the FAQ page for DevDocs. So please check the FAQ page next week for your answer. Okay, so next we will move into DAO update segment. So CCD presenter, please prepare for your presentation. So the purpose of this section is to give visibility into each group progress and ensure alignment across the program. So each DAO will present a short proposal summary report draft, and after the presentation, we will have a brief and open discussion for everyone. So at the end, DF of each DAO will share the reflection on the key lesson and the improvement for DAO to work on in the remaining time of Dev 2. So one more note before we start, please keep your presentation short and sweet in 8 minutes. Okay, so let's kickstart with the sharing from CCD. I'll leave the room for Mitch and welcome on stage.
Hello, am I audible?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Duyên Nguyễn, the DAO facilitator supporting the culture and creative DAO. And joining today with me is Nguyên Nguyễn. After some time in execution phase, CCD has made a progress and achieved several results across North and Blend. So today we would like to share what DAO has worked so far, some of the key outputs and learning from execution, and where we are heading next. So now let's hear directly from our CCD DAO lead, Mitch, who will walk us through the DAO's projects and achievements. Mitch, over to you.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So, thank you for your time, everyone, for being here. I'm going to be presenting what the DAO for CCD so far has done. So, I apologize if I am not able to be on camera. There are connectivity issues in my location right now. So, the next page, please. Just a quick overview. So, the DAO name that we have is Cultural and Creative DAO. And the theme that we have is cultural heritage, creative expression, and community storytelling. The vision that we have for this DAO is to explore how the decentralized creativity can preserve cultural heritage while prototyping regenerative funding models for creative communities. So we wanted to create and share 400 cultural, this is an typo. It's not just cultural, or it's cultural and creative expressions that celebrate identity, preserve local traditions, and inspire community storytelling. So the summary of the master plan that we had at the beginning was a global local collaboration across Philippine cultural nodes, which were three of them: the major islands in the Philippines, Luzon, the one up north, Visayas, the one in the middle, and Mindanao, the one down south. And the global collaboration was with the members of the CCD team, which ran from Kenya, Mali, Iran, Vietnam, and the Philippines as well. So we wanted to have 400 verified cultural outputs, and the target would have been 3,000 USD regeneration for the amount. And the summary was community owned knowledge amplified through the documentation, creative production, archiving, and partnerships. Next page, please. Now, just to give a recap of the members that we have, the lead is me, Michelle Andrea, um, along with DAO facilitators, Duyen and Nguyen, and the lane members for lane A, the stories and culture, Tiba and Casto. I'm not sure if they're online right now. For lane B, creative and archive, Mfon and Glory. Mfon said he will catch up. Lane C is regeneration, which is Jemima and Rafayat. And the floating contributors we had are Egby and Fatma. And they're actually working across different lanes, and they do have the option to step into any lane if they are needed. So the DAO duration was mid-May to September 2026. Next page, please. For the master plan and overview, so that would be impact and or plus regeneration. The impact would have been to produce 400 verified cultural and creative outputs. When we say verified cultural and creative outputs, what do we mean? So it means that the outputs are not just things we take photos of on the street and just say, oh, hey, this is the cultural output. By verified, we mean we obtained consent of the people, the tribes, the chieftains that we were interviewing and documenting. The consent form for Luzon, there was an issue where the chieftains were hesitant to sign physically. So there was the option to just do the thumbprint or to do the video. So that was something we really wanted to make sure we had consent. Now, regeneration. We wanted to generate at least 3,000 USDT. So working through the three Philippine cultural nodes, as I mentioned, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, we also have site leads or node leads. So for Tarlac, that is Kawayan Collective Tarlac, led by Diana Prado, and she just pressed on the heart sign. For Visayas, it is Iloilo, led by Maggie. And for Mindanao, it is in Iligan and Bukidnon, led by Balay Kasamtangan's Nikki. So we opted, and Nikki just clicked on the icon. So we document, preserve, amplify, and celebrate cultural knowledge, traditional practices, creative expressions, and lived experiences through a decentralized global local collaboration model. It sounds like such a mouthful, I know, guys, and it sounds like it's so hard to understand. But to make that simple, the experience, the lived experiences or the true experiences of the cultural bearers, the creative and cultural bearers, will be shared to in a global context. So next page, yes, there we go. Um, two, for the part two, lanes were actually formed because with so much movement, it cannot just stay in a physical form. We needed to make sure that the other members had a way to not only participate but also contribute. So, lane A, they were in charge of the stories and culture. So it's owning the end to end and the relationship with the three nodes, capturing the stories, interviews, consent, and turning them into written cultural knowledge. So, what does that mean? So, when the nodes actually pass their output, lane A collects them, gathers them, makes sure that they are properly formatted and proper for sharing. And the objective of this is the documentation share of the 400 output goal to make sure that the goal is met. Next page, please. By the way, please also let me know if I'm still good on time. Thank you. So for lane B, it is creative and archive. So they own the end-to-end part of turning these documented materials into creative outputs that is available online. Because remember, we are gathering physical things, interviews, photos of textile, photos of weaving, photos of craftsmen doing the bamboo. So lane B will turn them into posters, infographics, photo essays, video illustrations, and then curating and organizing them into published, searchable, this is very important, searchable, showcase ready collections. And once again, it contributes to the 400 output goal. Next, please. Next page, please. There we go. So for lane C, the regeneration, this is about generating value from the DAO's output without burdening the communities. Because later you will see the photos showing the communities are, some of them are in the mountains, some of them um, our regional partner or our node partner, local partner, had to cross rivers for flooded rivers, and they had to do, how do you call it, 4x4 driving as well. So we don't also want to burden the communities who may not have access to smartphones, who may not have access to internet, for them to actually produce the output. That's why we had the leads for the nodes. So the partner supported workshops, donation based storytelling and circles, prints or zines, and crossed out paid sessions. The objective is to raise 3,000 USD for this. So it's, we're already looking and gathering and have identified the partners to ensure that we meet the goals. Next page, please.
Hello, Mitch. You only have like 1 minute left,
Oh
so
my
please
gosh.
make it short and sweet. Yeah.
Okay. So please take the time to just look at the timeline and then we go to the next page, please. So our partners have actually done a lot, except that there were weather instances in Luzon, severe weather instances. But we can go to the next page. Mindanao has produced beautiful output as well, which will be put in the museum. I know this doesn't do it justice, but it gives you a teaser. Next page, please. And as you can see, Luzon also has output in the mountains. So this is just a small teaser of what they're going through, showing how the chieftains and the tribes and the local community gather the bamboo for working on it. Next page, please. As you can see, it's a lot of work. Next page, please. So now this is the women weavers in Visayas. The patterns are, I wouldn't say proprietary, but this is native to the Iloilo region or the Visayas region. Next page, please. So the impact and measurement, as you can see, the nodes have already done a lot. The lanes are also turning them into what is needed. We have achieved a significant amount. but we also need to still achieve a significant amount. And all the evidences are in the master files, Google Documents sheets. Next page, please. So the regeneration outcomes are tied to lane A and lane B. So we're still working on that. I'm not going to get on here and say we're already all good. We need to do this. We're double timing it, but um I'm very confident we will meet it. I'm just not confident in the timeline. So just to be honest on it, but I can assure you everyone is doing everything that they can and to the best of their abilities. So thank you guys for your patience. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Ha. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mitch, for your detailed and thoughtful sharing. And now I want to invite Ying and Wing Wing to continue moderate the discussion and share your reflection for CCD.
Okay, thank you, Miss, so much for your presentation. Now we open the floor for a short discussion. For everyone, we would love to hear your first impression of CCD project report, like what stood out to you or what your initial told about the project and each project. For members of CCD, we would also like to hear about your experience working in decentralized way to execute the proposal, like what your experience like working together and what did you learn from the process. Feel free to share your thoughts openly. The floor is yours. Okay, I think that we can start with open to everyone first. Is there anyone want to share your thinking about CTC? Okay. Um, if you would like to share, feel free to raise your hand. We really encourage everyone to take this opportunity to share even a short thought or key takeaway. CCD member, do you guys want to share something?
I think Nikki told me in our conversation earlier that she will be sharing something. I'm just not sure if she has video or audio.
Oh yeah. Nikki is our partner and she gonna share later.
Oh, later,
Okay.
later. Okay.
Yeah, so uh if no one want to share, so we move to the next part of the session is the DAO facilitator sharing. For my part, I will start with some lesson learned from facilitating the DAO. So for the lesson learned, I think that there are a few things become quite clear to me while facilitating the DAO. The first one is that clear explanation does not always mean that it's really execution. There were several situations where I had already explained the task, the expected output, and what the team need to do. But after that, some members still did not move forward because they felt confused or were not sure about something. And I think that this is an important lesson for me as a facilitator as well. It's not enough to just explain something once and assume that everyone will immediately understand and execute it. So, but at the same time, when something is unclear, members also need to take the initiative to ask. We had situation where someone would say that I didn't really understand, but instead of asking or reaching out, the task would simply stay there and nothing would happen. So I think that the one important lesson is that being confused should be a trigger for communication, not a reason to stop working. So if you don't understand the task, just ask. If you think that the direction is unclear, discuss it with your landowner, delegate, or teammate. That is much better than waiting until the next weekly meeting. And the second lesson is about the ownership. We originally had a more top-down way of working, where people are waiting for the DAO lead or someone else to assign tasks, but we move toward the land structure. We realize that this doesn't really work if we want the DAO to move quickly. Each plan needs people who actually understand what they are responsible for and can define their own next step. The third lesson is that North and land communication is very important. The North had the actual cultural information, stories, interview photos, and community contests, while the lands are turning those material into outputs and external opportunity. So if these two sides don't communicate directly, work gets stuck very easily. And finally, I learned that general responsibility is not enough. Saying we are responsible for documentation or like, well, we are responsible for regeneration doesn't tell people that they need to do this week. We need to translate that into something more concrete, like what is the task for this week, who owns it, what is the expected output, and when does it need to be done. I think that this is probably the biggest lesson I took from facilitating the DAO so far. And based on this lesson, I think there are also some areas that we can improve moving forward. So now I will hand it over to Wing, who will share improvements we can make based on this experience. Wing, over to you.
Okay, so I would like to share some improvement that I think that we should take into considerations in the rest period of the execution phase. The first one is that as Ying has shares that if you find something is unclear, you don't understand the task, or you are confused about the materials, please reach out to us, DAO facilitators directly, or other team member in your land in order to understand, clarify the situation rather than delay the task. And secondly, for every plan, I think that when you assign a task, you should assign clearly the owner, deliverable, and also deadline to ensure that every task is delivered in an effective and quality manners. So as we also have the master sheet and the Discord channel, so I think that every important discussions or alignment should happen in the master sheet and the Discord channel, so that everyone understand what is going on and everyone is on the same page. And the next one is that we strongly encourage direct collaboration between landowners and the node instead of waiting for the DAO facilitators to coordinate. If you need some information from the node and vice versa, if the node need more information from the landowner, you guys should collaborate and reach out to each other directly through the Discord channel. And finally, for the rest of the execution phase, I think that every land should report your progress for us regularly so that we can identify any blockers together, and we will support you guys in overcome these blockers. And for the next step in CCT, in the next week, we will finalize the virtual museum to showcase all of the creative outputs that we have completed. And Land Seed Regeneration will continue to connect with partners. And after we have finalized the virtual museum, we will continue to promote for the virtual museum. And Land Seed will finalize to secure 2 partners and sponsor for CCT. And for SEP 11 and SEP 25, we will conclude the execution phase and finalize the DAO report. So that is our sharing. I will pass the mic to Chang.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing. And now let's welcome the sharing from Exchange DAO. And Okiki, I'll leave the stage for you.
Okay, I'm Nguyen, and I will be facilitator for Exchange DAO. And first, I'm happy to invite Okiki to share the screen and the progress of Exchange DAO.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me and you
Yes.
can see my screen, just give a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. So, hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be in this weekly sync meeting. I'm Okiki Chinedu Emmanuel, the DAO lead of Exchange DAO, and I'll be giving you updates on our progress so far. So, on the slide, we are Exchange DAO, and what is Exchange DAO? So, our main goal is turning knowledge into exchange. We're exchanging knowledge, like our name implies. So why Exchange DAO? Knowledge exists everywhere, but access to it doesn't. There are people looking for knowledge, people with knowledge to offer, and countless opportunities for these two groups to learn from one another. But what is often missing is the connection between them, the connection to learn, share, and connect. So people learn by seeking the knowledge they need. People share by offering the skills, experiences, and perspectives they already have. And through this connection we're trying to make, the right people can find each other and create meaningful exchanges. Exchange DAO exists to turn knowledge into something people can actively exchange, creating a community where everyone has something to learn, something to share, and someone to connect with. So meet the DAO. We have our DAO lead Noah, and the DAO facilitator Noah, and also his co-facilitator Duyen. Then I, the DAO lead, Precious, the DAO co-lead. We have Onustella, who is in charge of user groups. We have Mr. Yasser in charge of the documentation and impact. We have Dr. Shah in charge of sponsors and partnership. Then we have Sebastian in charge of activation and sessions lead. Then we have Mohammed Abridan, who is also a member of our DAO. Then coming down to the different lanes, the first lane, we have the user groups in charge of community engagement, well-being, outreach, announcements, and storytelling. So this lane is led by Onustella. So these are pictures of what she has been working on so far. So on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on X, you might have seen some posts from Onustella regarding Exchange DAO on what we're doing. So please, if you see any posts coming from her, you can also always engage on this post. Then the next is activation and sessions. So the activation and session design session format, supporting guides and coordinating session delivery. So our main aim in the activation and session lane, in the lane 2, is to bring about user growth, bring in more users to the platform, and make sure they have a smooth use of the platform. Then the next is the lane 3, in charge of sponsors and partnership. So they are in charge of building partnership, exploring sponsorships, and testing suitable regeneration models. So over time, we've had different meetings. We've had meetings with Cherries of Giving Tuesday. We've had meeting with the Teachers for Peace Alliance. We've had meeting with the Dusty organization. And we've also had some community meetup where we try to bring in people to the Kambria ecosystem. So our master plan, is broken down into some main parts. First of all, in the May, we have to form. We establish the DAO, the working groups, the governance and direction. June, we began the experimentation. We begin testing the learning and collaboration model. By July, we grow partnerships, strengthen the CED ecosystem. By August, we drive community participation, meaningful sessions. Then by September, we round up by measuring the impact, test sustainability, and build what comes next. So if you want to go deeper, we have the link on this slide. You can read more about our master plan. So activities and deliverables. It was at this point that reality hit. So we kicked off and things got a bit messy. We discovered that the plan on paper wasn't the same as reality. The platform had bugs. The participation of our team members dropped. Then the story was difficult to explain. So the purpose of Exchange DAO, what Exchange DAO is meant to do, was difficult to explain to external partners. So we had the plan. Now we had problems to solve. So we tried to adapt. The problems became experiments. So for the platform, there were bugs that were slowing down participation. So we identified, test, report, and improved the experience, where we organized different tests to test the app and figure out what the problems are with the app. Then for the community engagement drop-in, we reorganized responsibilities and focused on the people actively contributing. So if you see here, we have the membership participation scale that our DAO facilitator uses to track the participation. Then from time to time, our DAO facilitator, the co-facilitator, Duyen, reassigned roles to certain persons that are more active. Then coming to partnership, it was difficult to explain. You send an email, you host a call with some partners, you'll need a lot of time to understand what Exchange DAO is all about. So we tried to create simplified content, presentation slides, and communication templates. So if they don't get all the information at once and it becomes overloaded, they get what they need to know at the point and how Exchange DAO could benefit them. Then the questions come from them, not we overloading them with information at first. So from problem, we went to progress. Some things weren't working. Then understanding what is actually happening. Then we tried a new approach. Then we adapted and capture what the DAO knows. So from this problems we faced, we're able to get new information. We got results that we learned from and we could use moving forward. So the activities completed. The first is community. We're able to host physical meetups in Pakistan and Nigeria, where we started the Exchange DAO initial community. Next, we were able to complete our testing phase. So we completed our testing phase and we wrote a report concerning the issues bothering the issues with the app, the bugs the apps is facing. So we had the issue. We scheduled a testing timetable where everyone could test, and we were able to provide these issues. Then we started building our knowledge network. So currently we are having a lot of persons joining the app and creating accounts and getting verified. These are the ones I am able to track right now. We have different guides, explorers on the app right now. We have more that are still joining. Then partnerships in motion. We have about 3 main partnerships in motion. We have a partnership with the Teachers for Peace Alliance. We have partnership with Giving Tuesday. We have partnership with the Dusty organization in Pakistan. So these are their logos. Then the virtual workshop. We also held a virtual workshop for our partners, guides, explorers, people interested in the app. So we held a virtual workshop where we could talk to them about the app, clarify their questions. When they ask questions, we have interaction with them and learn from them. And also we put them through on some certain things they really don't understand on the app. Then some CED calls have started going on. Yes, there's still I think there's still one problem left with the app. When you share your screen, it might start acting up. But some guides asked if they could host sessions without them sharing their screen. Maybe they just email the slide to the explorer, then they have the session. So they tried it and it actually worked out fine. So we have some sessions on the app. Some other sessions are still being created. Sessions on the app is growing and the interaction is going on. So the impact measurements, we have this session exchange. Our target is 500. Right now we have 4 sessions that have been done. The people participating, our target is 100, and then right now we have about 27 plus persons in that we were able to track on the app. Then new people introduced to CED, about 100 plus. Right now we have about 27 plus persons. Then the knowledge diversity, we plan to have about 10 plus domains where people can share topics on different categories. Right now on the app, studying the app and the sessions created, I can count about 3 different domains on which topics are created around. Then the regeneration outcomes, the partnerships, we have a target to secure 5 community partners. Right now we are in discussion with 3 partners, still planning to do more outreach. Then build a network of guides who can continue offering knowledge. So our target is to have about at least 20 guides. Right now we have 10 active guides on the app. So we are not done yet. This is only the midpoint. We've built momentum, but there is still more to do. So there are more partnerships to develop, more CED sessions to create, more participants to onboard, and more knowledge to exchange. So this is our progress so far. We are just getting started. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Okiki, very much to represent Exchange DAO and sharing about the executions and updates. And I'm very happy that we are in the progress and have been doing all the great work. So the next thing is that I want to discuss a bit about your experience with working with the decentralized framework and doing the execute execution and all the proposal that has been working on. So I think move I can as OKK have just shared about the slide. Could you quickly open and share also about your personal experience in working as a exchange DAO in the decentralized framework?
Okay, yeah. So working in a decentralized framework is, like I said, it's decentralized. So the whole burden is not on one person. So for a fact, there is not really much burden on a single person since different persons are in charge of different things. But there is a bit of a problem in trying to get the progress around everything. You know, you try to reach out to this person, reach out to this, to just make sure everything is moving forward. So that is the major challenge. But aside from that, you have people in charge of different aspects that bring about the progress in totality. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, OKK. And also, we are open to have any impression, sharing our thoughts on the execution of Exchange DAO from other DAOs from CCD, BBD, KTD. We're very open and welcome your thoughts. And if you all have any question related to the execution of Exchange DAO, please feel free to open your mind or drop it into the comment section. Because we have limited time, so I think we can move to um, the updates from DAO facilitator. But first, I will address the question from Yes Sir from Exchange DAO. So I think this is the opportunity to bring up the question so that everyone from other DAO can also have the opportunity to look at it. So he asked about will there be any amount of USDT deposited to us apart from the seed fundings for that request from the execution expense. So so the official statement from Kambria is that uh, there is no deposit apart from this because every DAO will receive not only extra DAO, but every DAO will receive a single 3,000 seed fund to cover all the execution, learning, experimentation, or regeneration activity that will set aside, voted on XDAO, and distributed throughout the working group budget envelopes. And it all has been approved as part of the master plan in advance. So there will be no deposit aside from that. And the funding flows is only working in one direction only. So DAO approve the master plan, individual working groups submit the proposal with budget request, the DAO votes, and then the approved fund will be dispersed and to the responsible working group member, and DAO will have the cash book to keep track all of the receipts according to the payment. So the next part is where I want to share more about DAO facilitator thoughts on the and reflection on the execution of Exchange DAO, and I hope our insight can help members of Exchange DAO to improve and work better in the next phase. So the first thing is about the lesson learned. So the first lesson is about the alignment between Kambria team and DAO member that have been working to become more clarity. So Exchange DAO and Kambria are working together on the CED platform and also in terms of partnership to synergize our efforts, material, and share goal so it will give more clarity and more momentum to the execution. Um, Also, before involve, there's a quick update that before you invoke any DAO facilitators or contribution from Kambria, member need to communicate and align with one another first, and also conclude what can Kambria or CED team can involve and help out with specific items. And this is the execution is entirely the responsibility and the ownership of the DAO. So these are your ownership to take actions, and it is not our DAO facilitator will try our best to assist and facilitate the sessions, but it is not our action to involve directly into the execution of the DAO. The next thing is about we learn about the proactive communication. So when a member face any problems or have confusion about a task, they need to inform the facilitator immediately or as early as possible to ask for support. Sometimes there are signs that you are confused and inactive, and the silence cannot help the situation, and it will create task hesitation or delay. So member need to revise the unclear tasks together to touch on the tasks that haven't been clear, and also that ask the facilitator to give support. And the final lesson is about we planning according to our final goals. So I know when we're doing plans, there could be the plans that go out of the flow of pop up from your creation, and I very encourage everyone to be creative and put in a lot of thoughts, but also please make sure to align with our DAO ultimate goals of number sessions and the regeneration target. So for each land, for example, user grow land, you have to align with call to action for people to drive app registration. Partnership land to expand our ecosystem or to secure sponsorship. Documentation is about tracking that work or progress properly. And with session land, you have convert new user or provide prompt support. So that is most of the lesson learned that I want to distribute. And the next thing is about the areas for improvement. Um, so speaking of improvement, the it is very important to finalize the plans and take actions. So the majority of the work is on the plan document, and I know that planning is very important, but we need to transfer it into real action. So everyone can update their task or who will be the one to in charge. And each land should have its own tracking document and update deliverable to share with uh, everyone. Um, the next thing is about meeting courtesy. So our meeting is always recorded and have taking attendance. So it's very important. So if you cannot come into the session, come into the meeting, please let the facilitator know in advance and update your task to your co-landowners or to the DAO leads so that everyone can update your parts and we can align together instead of delaying it to another period. And the last thing is about the core message that I want to convey is that everyone should take the ownership of the task, but also work in collaboration with other lens co-workers and also other lens where possible. You do not have to work a lot on this, so make sure to update what you have done with your counterpart and share any relevant documents, co-revise them, and working in alignment with the whole DAO and other lands. We're working in synergy, not isolation. So that is everything that I want to conclude for the improvement. For the next step, we have 4 OLANs and everyone will have their own deliverable to run for the rest of the execution. User grow with social content calendar and publisher, activation with initiative of acquiring and assisting user, sponsorship with onboarding new partner to expand community or sponsorships, and documentation to archive and to validate. So there will be timeline at the execution will end at September 11th. So please try your best to make everything happen and ready for the DAO final report. So that is all update for the Exchange DAO and all the contributions. So now we'll pass the mic to our Jen.
Yes, thank you so much for your sharing. And now let's welcome the sharing from KTD. So Ruhi, please start to share your presentation.
Hi everyone. Can you help me by sharing slides, please?
Okay, Rudy, we will help you with sharing the slides.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Can you see the screen, Rudy?
Hi everyone. My name is Clemens Ruhi. I'm from Kenya, and I'm part of the Cat Tokenomics DAO. Next slide, please. The overview and our DAO profile. The Cat Tokenomics DAO implements and pilots the Cat reward and privilege framework shared. It's non-financial recognition system designed to support consistent transparency and ethical participation across the Kambria DAOs. Our vision is to develop and provide frameworks, templates, and system prototypes that enable individual DAOs to configure, manage, and operate their own recognition and framework models. Next slide, please. Our facilitator is Nu, Chan, and Yugen. Our DAO lead is Andrew. Our co-lead is Shibani. Currently, we have 2 working groups. So the framework supports an audit working group, which is led by Andrew, and the documentation and learning led by Adekunle, and the system prototyping led by me. The DAO duration is between mid-May and September. The structure of our DAOs, we have the framework support and audit working group. The members include Andrew, Shibani, Gravit, me, and Adekunle for the system prototyping. We have me, Bhavya, and Shibani, and also Gavit is also a member of the system prototyping working group. Next slide, please. For the master plan overview, so for our final master plan goals, what we intend to do is applying the CAT reward privilege framework to DEP2 DAOs, having a customizable DAO operational toolkit that will be used across all DAOs, a pilot integration across DEP2 cohorts. So we'll be helping each DAO on finalizing their CAT reward and privilege framework. And then we'll be having an MVP web-based dashboard, which is a prototype, where you'll get to see how you input your contributions for the credit and how to apply the credit, karma, and CAT framework. And the working groups formed, so we have the framework and support. It applies the CAT reward and framework privilege framework across the 3 DAOs in DEP2, supporting each DAO in defining its specific configuration while developing an practical operating toolkit that enables the DAO organizers to implement the framework consistently, efficiently, and with minimal overhead. The system prototyping working group builds the MVP dashboard, and the documentation and learning working group documents the progress from all DAOs. So currently, our deliverables for milestone 1, the framework and support and audit working group was able to. Their first deliverable was governance, compliance, and audit toolkit. the core governance checklist and handbook alignment matrix, operational compliance and privacy audit protocol, the audit playbook and framework alignment and audit matrix completed. The DAO configuration and operational toolkit, a manual ledger blueprint, and verification engine interface, dependency mapping, DAO briefing pack, 3 DAO configuration working books, and triage and review integration completed. For the system prototyping working group, what we are able to do is build the foundation for the MVP dashboard. So we've completed most of the task for the reversible one and still implementing the CAT and the credit card market framework. Yes. Next slide, please. For the documentation and learning working group, they are able to come up with a DAO operational toolkit, which will be implemented across the 3 DAOs, and it's customizable and reusable across the 3 DAOs. And the other one is DAO organizer operating guide, which is completed. It's a manual covering the 12 core operational steps with explicitly demarcation between the DAO team duties and the KTD duties. Next slide, please. So for the announcement, KTD is still restructuring. In the next phase, KTD will restructure from 3 working groups to 2 main working groups. So that is a framework, support and audit, and the system prototyping. Since most of the documentation and learning outputs depend on the FSA, and the DL could become a lien under the FSA rather than remain a separate working group. For the framework and support and audit working group, so the documentation and learning will be under the framework, support and audit working group, and the other working group is the system prototyping working group. Next slide, please.
We are reaching the final slide point. You can add some closing and we can move to the discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Ruhi, for representing the KTD team and share your first milestone deliverable. I am Julie, and I'm going to represent the KTD DAO facilitator team, and I would love to host the discussion session today. I want to address a question came from the pre-event feedback form from one of our member, Shibani. So he asked about the final KTD deliverable and the criteria to evaluating the execution phase and how KTD involved into upcoming cohort like D3 or even D4. So let me walk through that quickly. Okay, next slide. Okay, so most of the detail is on the slide, so you guys can feel free to reference it after. On our final deliverable, it's expected to be a customized chat config for each selected DAO. Also, operation toolkit for monthly credit, grammar, and card checking. And also, we need to support the integrations pilot for each DAO. And also, we should deliver the MVP dashboard prototype. Like every DIP2 DAO, we also have to submit our proposal summary report and the spend tracking. So that's really what we are evaluate against. And plus whether DAO can run a monthly cycle on their own. The next step in DEP 3, this is an important shift because right now in the category as infrastructure layer, and we designing the config for everyone. In DEP 3, CAT become like the settle infrastructures, and so each DAO can take the ownership of its own config, tier, and privilege directly, and the framework get integrated into the DAO, especially the DAO workbook as part as normal operation. So for the first, so the short versions, our job is to handing off something durable to that DAO can run it themselves. So with that question addressed, I would like to move into the DAO facilitator team reflection and lesson learned for this cohort. Yeah. So first, let's start with lesson learned. First, on the CAT reward and privilege framework, this framework has to be fully understood before we implement anything under it. It's not easy to understand the framework instantly. And when members go in without solid grasp of it, they either feel overwhelmed or end up executing the wrong approach. So this is something we need to slow down and get right from the start, not learn the whole way mid-execution. Second, on contributor payments, KTD follow the Kambria contributor payment guideline, but the DAO still need to define its own specific rule on top of it for some specific case, and we need to get agreement across all members. Third, ambiguous deliverable scope. When working group lead don't define clear deliverable and how they differ from other working group deliverable in the DAO, it can slow down everyone. And people aren't sure what done actually look like, and that's great reward or wasted effort. Four, it's a operation lessons. So code must be uploaded or deleted without the working group lead acknowledgement. And so those are the lessons, and that lead us to things that we want to or wish to improve. First, we're going to run a mandatory CAT framework walkthrough so all DAO members can using the real deliverable example, and they can actually click in practice, not just in theory. Second, we would like to define a DAO-wide contributor payment SOP. It's a one clear agreed process built on top of Kambria guideline. Third is that before every payout cycle, we want to confirm the per contributor value and amount, and we want to get them sign up and both agree before the allocation begins. And four, once the proposal is approved, that member will define a master work plan together. So everyone is rowing in the same direction from day one. Fifth is that working group lead will need to set a clear deliverable for each milestone ahead of every week. And they need to communicate clear about deadline, effective output to them. And finally, we go into prioritize tasks that build coordination with other DIP3 DAO rather than spend most of our time just to improving or finalizing the internal template or documentation. And that's covered the lesson we learned as a DF and the improvement that we committed to. Now I handle it over to Zoe, who's going to walk us through the next step for KTD DAO.
Hello everyone. For CAT Tokenomic DAO, we are now moving from milestone 1 into the final 2 execution milestones from August 19 to 21. Our priority is to close the milestone 1 contributor payout, finalize the internal tracking, and prepare the milestone 2 planning and voting process. from August 22 to 28th, the main focus will be cross-DAO execution. This is an important stage for KTD because our framework is not meant to stay internal or on document. We need to work directly with other DAOs, support their configuration, and make sure the templates and workflow are actually usable in practice. By August 29 to 31, we will have our formal milestone 2 check-in and review the milestone 2 deliverables and payout. Then from September 1 to 5, we will move into pilot and end-to-end testing, connecting the framework configuration, operating toolkit, checking workflow and system prototype together. Finally, from September 6th to 10th, we will freeze the integration and prepare the full DEP2 delivery package. After September 10th, we will move into the final milestone review and milestone 3 payout process. So for KTD, the next few weeks are really about moving from design into execution and validation. Internally, we are also refining our working structure into clear own lanes, so each member has more specific ownership, and the dependencies between our framework, documentation, and system prototype are easier to manage. Our biggest priority right now is not to create more theory, but to make sure that we have built what we have built can actually be used by other DAOs, operated with low overhead and tested through the full workflow of DEP2. We still have quite a lot to deliver before September 10. So I really appreciate everyone who has continued to step up and support the KTD DAO during this execution phase. And from KTD side, we are looking forward to working more closely with other DAOs during the cross-DAO execution period and learning from your feedback as well as we finalize the DEP2 package. Thank you everyone from KTD DAO. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, New and Zoe, for sharing. And last but not least, let's welcome the sharing from BBD. And I will leave the stage for Oscar.
Hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Mel, for sharing your screen with the slides. Thank you everyone for your presentations. It's been great to hear what everyone's been doing for DEP2, specifically in the execution phase. This is a really beautiful project. Oscar Chavez Marquez from PPD, which is a cool play of words for Pesa Play, which is our main product, which focuses on capacitating children in Kenya for digital financial literacy. Next slide, please. So we share the same goal, which is to regenerate 3,000. We are led by Maywood Mora, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. We have 9 members active. And I guess a clear update that you will see from the last catch up that we had all together is that we've sort of shared our work group lanes to enable co-leads in order to share sort of initiative and the ownership of those of executing this project. Our group lanes are sort of split more so by task that we need to deliver and by skills that we have. So coordination, documentation, the regeneration, where I am, which sort of ensures that we do reach that goal. And then the execution and product. We have DICE brilliantly delivering our digital product, which by the end of the presentation will give you a little playthrough, so you can have a bit more of a feel of what we're doing. Next slide, please. So yes, we've planned to execute 2 pilots. We've executed 1, which I will share a little bit more of the findings and the difficulties that we had here ends. We sort of accompany the kids from the moment that they're taken, and we take a little diagnosis in the beginning, and then we sort of take that diagnosis against that control again at the end to see the confidence gain and how much they improved in assessing, sort of discerning between financial options and decision making. We sort of prioritize child safety. So we make sure that we get consents from every single parent, that we anonymize the session codes, and that none of that data is sort of shared outside of the process and is not sort of embedded in any way through our reporting in a way that would compromise those children. And we sort of validate that safety from the gate and until the end. Next slide, please. So as part of our activities, in order to sort of empower children who are sort of the look away, the look ahead in the future, and to make sure that families that are composing themselves don't get into the harms of digital scamming and digital financial mismanagement. We have sort of started with Anointed Academy, which is our first pilot. We had a staggering attendance of 31 out of 40. So we had more people turn up, but those 31 were the people that we could follow from the beginning till the end. One of the difficulties, obviously, is the fact that school season is over. So sometimes it's difficult to convince children to stay in a learning program when they're meant to be on holiday, sort of having fun. But we did manage to capture a lot of people, and we are sort of in the process of finalizing the results from that pilot, which I will tell you a bit more of what we have right now. But we sort of managed to get those findings. We're in the process of assimilating those into our methodology so that the teaching can also reflect a little bit the varied age stages that we have, because we're trying to do something that is pleasant for all ages, which sometimes is a bit difficult to execute. So we're considering different forms of delivering that, but also making sure that the learning content remains interesting and challenging for students in order to keep them engaged. And thus, we're adapting that into our licensing materials as to formalizing with credibility to the study. And we are sort of finalizing that into our QA. And into our digital product on hellakids.com in order to deliver it. All of this process is dutifully reported and documented. We exchange meetings constantly as to boost coordination and decision making, as a program like this would require. We've learned a lot that from Cambria. Next slide, please. So now onto our impact measurement. We've sort of, like I said, tracked it from beginning to end, and we were sort of really happy to find out that both so from comparing the pre to post assessments, that the average has improved by a staggering or almost 48 points, meaning that kids were both felt a lot more confident in taking autonomy in financial decisions, but also that they actually did learn. So it did build capacity. So sort of staving off the Dunning-Kruger effect. We also learned from that and from the feedback forms that we received from them that so most of the students would rate it quite highly in terms of the capacity for it to teach something new, but also the fact that they did find it interesting enough that they would recommend it to other children or other kids. So we have a very strong signaling that this does work and it is an appropriate method to deliver. Next slide, please. So now we are setting up, because we've split that regeneration goal sort of between the two families, like I said, the two schools, like I said before, and a few families. We're sort of setting up these more individualized ways of getting the payments through and of getting them sort of regularized, which is what we obtained from Flutterwave, which we'll be doing till the end of August. We will be revising the assessment instrument, like I said, to fit all ages and capture more people. And then by September, once all of those things are sort of set in stone, we are going to finalize those licensing pitches, and then it's sort of engaging more with the individual families, which are a bit more difficult to capture because the communication is a bit more diffuse. and to try to sort of work on the other end of that goal. We did have sort of bad news, so we weren't able to do the second pilot in the other school due to calendar differences and other activities that they have going on. So we are considering different ways of covering that part of the regeneration goal through boot camps, through online teaching, through championship, which we have clear indication that we can use as a selling point, given the interest in our platform. Next slide, please. I think now is the playthrough, if I'm not wrong. Exactly. Thank you, Mel. So now I'm going to run you through a very short playthrough of the platform.
This window, then
Yeah, go ahead.
if you log in with the correct details, the correct credentials, you're going to have this page. Now for me, I already signed up. So this is our child. We already, as a parent, I already added one child. And this page you have an option of viewing your status, your subscription status, and also viewing your children. So let's just proceed like adding a child. And in this section, we're going to add a child like Kevin. I'm going to say Kevin Green. Kevin Green. And from there, you can say they are 11 years old, or rather 13. Then you're going to hit the button create child. And after creating a child, you'll have this access code. You can either copy the URL, this is the URL, or rather scan the QR code here. Or you can print it and give this to the child, and they're going to use it in your browser. And let's just wait for it to load, then voila. So they have two modules. You can either select any of it. So let's just go with budget hero from there. You can, let me just, for the purpose of time and everyone, let's just select random. This is a pretest. So before the actual test, this is the actual test. We have a pretest, then let's just go with any because of time. Then, okay. You can see the points here. Yes. And after completing, we'll actually have a post test. These are actually like a feedback, how we get a feedback from the student. Then you finish. When you click the button finish, you get to see your point. Then you can choose another module here. You can say scam spotter, the same thing. Just for
Yeah, thank you. As you saw, we have those two modules, so the budget hero and the scam protector. I think. Sorry if the word is not exactly correct. That was a playthrough from Bismarck, so you can see it is a very interactive platform that kids can join in and actively take charge in those decisions and sort of learn by doing. I will pass it now to Mel and Trang, who are our brilliant facilitators, and I'm sure they have plenty of things to share about this execution phase. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Oscar, for a very insightful and inspiring presentation. I am Mel, and I'm the DAO facilitator of BPD. And now I want to open the floor to a bit of our discussion. So first, for everyone in the meeting today, we would really like to hear your first impressions of the project report, and also whether it's something that caught your eyes, a question or general feedback on the results. You can feel free to unmute and put your thought or drop your thoughts in the chat. And we also would love to zoom in on the execution side to know what was the experience working in a decentralized model for members of BPD, and what was it like to bring this proposal to life, and what went smoothly, and what were the key challenge and learnings. I think I would like to also hear from Oscar. He just presented to us the proposal at the report. Hello, Oscar. Do you want to share?
Yes, I'm happy to start. I think it is quite an interesting model. I would say that given the sort of the reorganization that we had and sort of to boost ownership and leadership and etc., it is a very good initiative. But the sort of the the delegation part of it can be a bit tricky because I think a few people were a bit used to spearheading sort of parts of it. So now sort of splitting those responsibilities, I've been finding it a bit challenging as a member that just stepped up to the co-lead part. I think also the coordination part has been a lot better. We are a lot more active, which is really good, and we've sort of taken a lot of ownership in the project. It's good to see the results coming through. I am a little bit worried about the second pilot not going through, to be honest. It's given the fact that it's quite a big chunk of our regeneration, but we do need to put in a bit of effort to get that and to get more on top of it. To be honest, which I think the fact that we have some members on the ground, so um, especially the lead, so Maywood Mora, could give us a lot more insight into enacting that and making sure that happens. So all in all, it's been quite a rewarding experience. It's good to see how different people work from different locations. Yes, it's I'm quite happy with it, but yeah, there's still some work to be done.
All right, thank you so much, Oscar. So
Thank
next, we
you.
also want to share a bit of the DEP sign, which is our sharing. First, we have some lesson learned from this. First is that follow through is PPT Biscuit execution gap, which is we have become better at discussing and assigning tasks, but sometimes a task starts, but they're not progress to the next step. And the second is that decentralization requires a very clear ownership and real accountability. So tasks need to be more clearer. And scope need to be more clearer with detailed expectation and a defined PIC. And each person in charge should fully own the task and work toward the ideal deliverable. The third one is the ownership must be distributed, but not pushed to the DAO lead. When too much responsibility falls on the DAO lead, which here is Maywood Mora, other members may become less accountable and creating more review and rework. The DAO model works best when everyone stays aligned and takes ownership very seriously, and is also accountable for the quality. The fourth thing I wanna talk about is the execution phase. I think we should focus more on the outputs and the milestone. Kambria already shared about the milestone when PPT begins the execution phase, but rather than work directly to the goal, what DAO currently do is just discuss and preparing for the goal. The last one is lanes work as an interconnected system. This is what we observe and remind our DAO frequently in weekly meeting. Each lane should understand not only its all responsibilities, but also how its outputs enable other lanes. When one deliverable is delayed, it can block the deliverables of the next lane. So ownership also means understanding these dependencies and helping the overall DAO move forward. Okay, next is the improvement. We have some suggestions. The first one is to strengthen follow through with clear checkpoints. Going forward, we need to pay more attention to what happened after a task is assigned and make sure it reaches completion. Second is you need to set clear ownership and definition of done. So every key task needs the clear person in charge, a deadline, an expected output, and a definition of what is done. At this stage, the person in charge should actually drive the task through completion and take responsibility for the quality of the final output. The third one is we need to manage execution around milestone and outputs. For the final month, we need to work backward from the milestones, and we still need to achieve we need to redefine a milestone and try to achieve it within the time of DEP 2. And it is very crucial. Next is to strengthen cross-lane dependencies. With limited time remaining, delays between lanes become even more critical. Each lane needs to clearly understand that it is waiting for and others are waiting for them, so dependencies can be resolved quickly before they affect final deliverables. The last one, the most important one, is adopt an action first execution mindset. So at this stage, we should spend less time repeatedly checking agreed tasks and more time producing output. Once the direction is clear enough, the approach should be take action, produce, review, and improve quickly. Okay, so that's just some insights and a suggestion from DAO facilitator. We also want to remind you guys about the next step. We have closed the milestone payout, and this involve closing out and officially coming to the next phase. Well, and we were gonna have a formal check-in around August 29 to 31 to 31st, and we conduct our formal check-in. We will review deliverable completion and securing a team trial, also trigger the milestone to pay out. Looking ahead to September, our major focus is shift toward the stakeholder engagement as well as the family as access channel. And finally, for our ultimate phase, which the days I put here to be discussed as we finalize pre-executive dependency, and we will hold the final milestone formal review. Once the review criteria are fully satisfied, we will process a milestone payout to officially wrap this cycle. So I think this is the end from me. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Oscar.
Okay, so thank you everyone, and especially the DAO members and DAO facilitators for your detailed sharing. And before we move on to the next part, so let's take a photo together to capture this memorable moment. So please turn on your camera. Okay, so Nguyen, please help me to take a picture of everyone. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for turning on your camera. Yes, okay. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, so now let's get back to our agenda and move on to the share execution phase feedback. For this section, I would like to invite Uying and Yu from Kambria team to share overall feedback for DEP, and this will help us align, improve, and support each team progress. So please welcome on stage.
Hi everyone. I would like to share the key feedback we collected from participants after the dev to execution phase. First of all, thank you everyone who took the time to provide feedback. Next slide, please. In total, we received response from 21 DAO members. Overall, I think the feedback gives us a pretty positive picture of the execution phase. Participants were generally satisfied with the support, with satisfaction score ranging from 3 to 5, and importantly, we did not receive any low ratings. Let's move on to the feedback summary. First is about team structure and collaboration. This is one of the strongest positive points. Participants mentioned that having clearly assigned role helped them to understand how they could contribute and stay aligned with their teammates. It also helped members build stronger relationships and collaborate with people across different DAO. Another strong point is the support from facilitator and DAO leads. Several participants specifically mentioned that close communication with their leads was one of the most helpful part of the execution. Also, participants found some existing working material useful, in particular the cash book template, master plan structure, and weekly reporting workflow help team to establish a shared framework and track their progress and contribution. And fourth is pilot execution and reward impact. Personally, I think this is probably the most interesting finding. Participants highlighted that moving from planning to reward pilots, such as testing product, running section, and engaging with school was one of the rewarding parts of DEP 2. It also helped participants feel that their work was creating actual impact and give more credibility to what they were building. Now let's move on to area for improvement. Next slide, please. The first major issue was funding and reimbursement. There was some uncertainty because the reimbursement policy had to be developed during the execution phase, so proposed improvement is to define and publish both reimbursement policy before the execution begins. The second issue was the scope and communication clarity. Several DAO felt that the goal and task expectation were not completely clear at the beginning. For the next phase, we might maintain a single source where on scope and goal related decisions are documented and regularly updated. The third area is technical issue with CED. Some members face account verification problems and general application bug also slow down the work of several working groups. And currently, we are working on fixing the verification issue. Another challenge is workload and engagement balance. Participation was not always evenly distributed, which means that the workload sometimes concentrated on a small number of active members. There were also some difficulties where one working group depended on other working group to complete a task. We might need to track individual contribution and with standardized reporting and define cross working group dependencies earlier to reduce coordination overload. Finally, we have documentation and onboarding. Some participants felt that the amount of documentation was scattered and overwhelming, especially for new members. There was also additional challenge for non-English speaking community. So, one of potential solution is to create a more concise onboarding roadmap and potentially explore multilingual resource for our international community. Overall, I think that two feedback shows that the execution model has a strong foundation. At the same time, the biggest opportunity for improvement are around clearer communication, technical stability, workload distribution, and a more structured onboarding experience. And if we address these areas in the future, I think we can make the progress clearer for the future participant. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for your sharing. And now move to the next part, which is an interesting part, is open mic. So for this part, let's welcome Nguyên Lê and Ngọc back on stage for hosting this part.
All right, hello everyone. So this is the moment where after all the update of the execution, this is the moment for every DAO member to open your mic, share your camera, and share about your insight, tips, shout outs, or every memory story moments that you have been observing and encountered throughout your experience with your DAO. So I think we will go through every DAO here. So the first thing I will happily invite Stella from Exchange DAO to share about your moments. Are you here, Stella?
Hi. Oh, shit. Okay. Hello,
Yes.
everyone. All
Hi,
right. So,
Stella.
I'm so glad to be on this call. I mean, once again, we are having a sync meeting. So, yeah, my reflection on Deep 2 execution and my reflection so far. So, being a part of Exchange DAO during DEP 2 has been a learning experience for me, especially because I was part of DEP 1. And then here again in DEP 2, it's been so amazing. So being a lead for the user growth experience, one of the major and the biggest things I've learned is that building a community goes beyond simply creating content. It's not all about making announcements. It involves understanding people, communicating ideas clearly, keeping people engaged, documenting progress, and finding creative ways to make a project understandable and accessible to others, because not everyone out there will understand it, but we have to find a way to make it understandable to everyone. Now, during the execution phase, I've been involved in developing user growth materials for Exchange DAO and the CED app, including infographics, social media content, partnership materials, communication updates. We've also been working on ways to tell the story of CED and communicate its vision. I remember
Stella, I think this is some
very
issue with connection.
creating ideas, refining our messages, figuring out what content we should put out and what we shouldn't put out. And for my shout out, I want to shout out to Okeke Chinedu, our lead. His insights and direction has kept us focused and has really been valuable throughout the process. And also to Anna Precious, she's my partner in the user growth owned lane. Thank you so much for your insight, thoughtful contributions, and the way you've consistently brought ideas on the table. Having someone to brainstorm and build alongside has made the journey much more easier and more enjoyable. I'm grateful to be a part of a team where we are not just thinking about ideas, but actually building, learning, and figuring things out together. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Anastella, for your sharings and reflection on your journey with Extenda, and I hope we can move it forward. The next one is I want to hear the insights and reflection from CCD as well. So I'm happy to invite Castle. Am I audible to you, Castle?
Yes, hello. I hope you hear me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you for being part of Cambria, but I also thank you to be part of Creative Lab because it creates a better working space for me, and also I'm still learning about different cultures, working with different parts. Say that this is one of the learning space for all of us. We learn a lot and we understand a lot about what is going on in the world and what is on. Thank you all for inviting us to collaborate and learn from each other. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Castle, for your sharing and experience from CCD. So I think we can move to PPD as well. So I'm happy to invite Bismarck to share about your experience working under the PPD. So can you hear me, Bismarck?
Yes, loud and clear. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm glad to be talking to you. So I'll just read you the updates, the weekly highlights of the Cambria. The DEP2 is in full swing, and this week we are spotlighting PesaPlay DAO. The PesaPlay DAO has delivered their financial literacy edtech platform, giving kids the tools to understand money in a fun, interactive way. And they are not stopping in the screen. They're just showing up in classrooms across Kenya, running real schools workshop with real kids, interactive learning modules, on the ground workshops, bringing it all to life, from the platform delivery to classroom impact. And this is what DAO execution looks like in the real world. The DP2 is moving, and we are so excited to see PesaPlay DAO bring their missions to life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bismarck, for your sharing of the PPD down. So now I think this is there is another response on the Padlet, so please spend your time to read all the sharing and experience. So now I will pass the mic back to our facilitator.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. And our next part is about partner sharing. So please welcome Yoon and Ying, who will guide us through the key reflections from our partner, Miss Nikki.
All right, thank you. Chang, Nikki, are you ready?
Yes, I was born ready.
Okay, you can start sharing your screen and start your sharing.
Actually, is it okay, Mel, if I ask you to share the screen because my net is also very bad. Okay. Sorry, everyone. You know, the Philippines just suffered through 3 weeks of very bad rain, storms, very bad storms. So pretty much all of our uh, internet towers are being, repaired. But yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited and I love seeing everyone here, such an international organization. My name is Nikki Sansos Ocampo, and I'm one half of Balay Kasamtangan, which is the Mindanao node, and an upcoming artist residence in Bukidnon. So next slide, please. Oh, thank you for all the hearts. So yeah, we're creatives who advocate cultural preservation and revitalization and work with the various
Hi, Nikki. I think you're going through some
ethno-linguistic
connection
groups
issue.
across our whole island. There are a lot. So next slide, please. If it's mine. Stop. Is that better? Okay.
Okay, that is better.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here we're on the next slide. So our project features two major locations, Iligan City and Bukidnon. Iligan is a major urban center that's close to Marawi, the home of the Marawi City, home of the Maranao community. This is where we feature our first interviewee, Baiming, who's a cultural leader and pioneer of Maranao collectibles, shown on the left. So we managed to capture a special 360-degree video of her shop, and you were sitting with her and her husband, Datu Jumail, as they explain what it means to be Maranao in the contemporary era. That's one of the various ethno-linguistic groups found in Mindanao. Our other communities are based in Bukidnon, as you can see on the right, who are young cultural bearers of the Panagauli collective. These are young adults ranging from 18 to early 30s who also talk about what it means to be representatives of their tribes, carrying the legacies of their elders. Next slide, please. Sorry if I'm talking a little bit fast. I am also pressed for time. So Philippine culture is not monolithic, meaning we do not have the same language, clothes, or even histories, actually. Each island varies greatly, and Mindanao specifically has many histories that survived colonization. I'm actually from the capital, Manila, originally, and all of the things that I've learned moving to Mindanao was very different from what I learned growing up. So next slide, please. Okay, yeah, there. So in our project, we'd like to showcase how different each culture and community is to remind people of why diversity is important and should be respected. So down there, you can see some of the young cultural bearers in Bukidnon. The guy on the far left in black was our photographer friend who actually came all the way from Cebu to help us with the project. So next slide, please. Yeah, so this is what we produced so far. We had 10 video interviews, a lot of pictures, which I have to explain because a lot of people are asking on the chat, "Oh, what does this mean? Oh, what does this mean?" I'm like, "Oh man, please give me time because we have a lot to do." But as you can see, the picture on the right is what was published in the Facebook and social media pictures that announced the CCD project. Okay, next slide, please. Could we go to the next now?
I have already go to
There
the
we
next
go.
slide.
Oh, okay, sorry. My internet is very bad. So yeah, the biggest challenge that we had was the inflation of gas. As you can see, the Philippines suffered the biggest, like inflation at 80%. We were really, it was really hard to use the budget or stay within the budget, trying to visit all of our our interviewees because going to Bukidnon from Iligan City is actually a 6-hour drive. So that's the coast to the deep mountains. And we were the ones that had to cross rivers to go to some of the people that we interviewed. And then, so in total, actually, we burned about or more than 100 liters of gasoline to reach all of the locations where we did our interviews. And Philippine landscapes, are very like up and down. It's go up the mountain, then down the mountain, then up another mountain. And weather can be very unpredictable, as you can see in the news. We are actually one of the most vulnerable from climate change, and rural communities are the first ones to be cut off from road access because of trees, fallen trees, and landslides that actually they break our highways. They fall in on each other. So we're actually lucky because we were able to visit our communities before the storm hit. And we're really praying for the safety of Luzon because, 3 weeks of rain. As you can see, the picture down there at the bottom left is a current, what's it called? Like emergency evacuation from Manila's flooding. That was published, I think, just today. So next slide, please. I'm not sure. Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned, it was kind of hard to stick within the budget because of the conflict or the war, basically. Commodities were dependent on gas prices, so all of the food went up, and then we also, of course, had to give honorariums to our interviewees for sharing their personal journey, or like personal stories that are actually tied to hidden history. And we asked them, yeah, what is it like to have all these histories within your family in the contemporary era. So the budget is actually lean by creative industry standards, but we were able to do something. So just something to keep in mind for Cambria moving forward. Next slide, please. So yeah, finally, we would just like to say that for us in cultural work, quality is always better over quantity. So like, I'm excited to see how the lane owners would process, the museum, the virtual museum, and, come have everyone come together, showcase what the 3 nodes are like. And then in the future, we'll see more of the countries that are part of Cambria's organization. So thank you so much, everyone, for having us.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for being here today with us. And the presentation quite impressive, and I really wish to come to Philippines to visit Mindanao. Okay, so back to our agenda. So we will move to our last part, which is the milestone. So after this meeting, you will have time to reflect on your DAO journey and work for the DAO to the remain DEP 2 time. So there's 2 milestones that I would like to focus is after this meeting, you have to finalize your proposal summary report and submit to us on September 25. And then we will have a DEP 2 summary and DEP 3 info session at 6 November. So please keep track your timeline to meet these milestones. And for all the questions that you have shared during this meeting, we will note them down and we'll share the answer with you soon by the Kambria social channel. So now just one last thing, that please take a moment to complete the feedback poll that our team has prepared. It's a quick survey and we would like you to fill in, and we deeply appreciate your presence in today's meeting. So you can find the poll right on your screen. So kindly spend 2 minutes to fill it out. Thank you so much. Yeah, we receive a few response for the feedback role. So if anyone here, please fill in. Thank you so much, Nikki, for attending to this meeting, and your sharing is really valuable for us to understand what CCD are doing right now. Okay, thank you so much for all members for being with us today, and we excited for the journey ahead and to create real impact together. So stay connected with us on Canberra Discord for updates and ongoing conversation, and we hope you leave this event with renewed energy, meaningful connections, and powerful lessons that will guide you as you went to the next phases. So thank you so much for joining. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye, everyone.